Well, she certainly gave him stars. So, welcome back everyone. Yep, that is right. Today I'm taking a look at Resident Evil 3 Remake. Yeah, oh, not covering the first one yet, although I probably should, because I actually recently did beat Zero. So, yeah, let's just get into the video. So, Resident Evil 3, is, the sequel to Resident Evil 1, but also a prequel to 2, as the majority of the game takes place before 2, while the rest of it takes place after 2. So this one takes place in September of 1998, after the T-Virus has had an outbreak in Raccoon City, pretty much turning the entire town into a wasteland. It's during this time that, Jill is introduced to a new friend developed by Umbrella, the Nemesis T-type, who was made to kill any surviving STARS members in the city. And unfortunately for her, she and Brad are the only ones left in the city. So, for those who are confused, pretty much in the first game, the STARS Alpha and Bravo units investigate the Arklay Mountains in the Spencer Mansion, and also Rebecca gets lost on a train or something like that. And they're pretty much all of them die except for 5 of them. And yeah, that's pretty much what happens in the first one. Of course, the team is disbanded because Chief Irons is in a pocket of Umbrella. And, the city is just pretty much kind of a bad place to live. So Jill has to escape from the city while also being hunted down by the Nemesis. And that's pretty much the story. Obviously in this game you'll have a few parts for you to play as Carlos, as him and one of his buddies, Tyrell, are searching for a man known as Nathaniel Bard, who kind of might be able to help with the situation. But of course, it's probably that Umbrella probably wants something else to do with him, because according to him, they were killing all the scientists, and, he's eventually dead. You get to fight Nemesis a bunch of times, and eventually have to look for a vaccine so the city doesn't get blown up. Because, yeah, that happens. So, obviously, it's definitely a short game, so I guess what are my thoughts on this one? Is the game good? Do I recommend it? And how does it compare to the other remakes and a few of the other entries? Obviously, despite its flaws, the game is somewhat pretty good. Obviously, the biggest complaint you'll hear about the game is the fact that it is way too short. They actually cut out quite a bit of content from the original Resident Evil 3, which is pretty unfortunate. The game also did get some complaints about it being too action-packed, which honestly is kind of a stupid complaint, if I'm being honest. But it also did get criticized due to this multiplayer game that was bundled with it, called Resistance or whatever. I mean, Capcom, Resident Evil and multiplayer really don't make it an interesting combo. So I guess compared to other remakes, this is probably my least favorite Resident Evil remake. I know 2 has gotten some flack for cutting stuff out, but at least on a bright side, Resident Evil 2's remake is a pretty enjoyable experience. Resident Evil 1's remake is definitely one of the best games in the series, and Resident Evil 4 is pretty much shown how impressive a remake can be. So it's unfortunate that the Resident Evil 3 remake is just kind of the black sheep of the remakes. If I'm being honest, it kind of felt extremely rushed. I mean, this literally came out this came out a little over a year than 2, after 2, and then the next year we got Resident Evil Village, So, if I'm being honest, it kind of seems like Capcom might have been focusing more on Village and just pop this one out just to kind of, well, start working on Resident Evil 4's remake, which, if I'm right about this, it's kind of sad because Resident Evil 3 is a fun game and it just should have had more time in development instead of just cashing in on the Resident Evil craze like it did. It also could have gone without that really bad multiplayer mode. But despite its flaws, I had a pretty fun time with this one. This was actually my second Resident Evil Platinum, and to be honest, it's a better experience than Resident Evil 2's Platinum, as there's no BS with the Force Survivor trophy or any god-awful DLC trophies. Resident Evil 3 didn't have DLC, but it instead had a content shop where you could get the original costumes for them and also infinite weapons and stuff. So that's kind of cool, but honestly, they should have made the game a bit longer. I do recommend it for fans of the series. Like, if you haven't played this one yet, well, you can find it pretty easily. It's definitely worth a playthrough. You know, it's definitely nice seeing Jill in another Resident Evil game that wasn't a god-awful spin-off that kind of tainted Resident Evil, but it would have been nice to see it as, well, more of a faithful remake that actually added stuff like the Resident Evil 4 remake and the Resident Evil 1 remake instead of just kind of being a half-baked idea. Plus, I know I've been talking really good about the Resident Evil 4 remake, but I do have some criticisms with that. But obviously, I'll talk about that one eventually. So, this was my review of Resident Evil 3. And until then, goodbye, and well, enjoy the spooky season.